Hey everyone, welcome to this inaugural 9th edition Battle Report here in Overcharged Plasma Gaming. I'm welcoming back Gavin to the channel, who was the inaugural 8th edition Battle Report opponent, again with his Necrons. Hi Gavin.
Yep. Hi everyone, good to be back again.
Good. Yeah, I mean, it's, we had a game with a very similar list of viewers battling Blood Angels recently, and that was interesting. It was frustrating for you.
Yes. Let's just say it's amazing how many FORP invuns you can make when you get going.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that Harlequins will carry that message onwards as well, given my only defense versus your army.
I mean, I am coming off the back of 2 second places in the TTS leagues that we've got, so my virtual dice have been doing pretty well recently.
Oh yeah, and you did kick my butt on stream, on the Art of War stream, hard.
Yeah.
And in our final game of 8th edition, so that wasn't pleasant.
Yeah, so I think you kicking me with Blood Angels was recompense for that. So
yeah, I mean, it was a pretty nasty score as well. Not as nasty as what you did to me, winning by like 30 something points in ITC.
Yeah, yeah, I'll give you that.
But anyway, we are here today doing priority targets. I believe mission 33 in the GT and the Grand Tournament 2020 mission pack for the Strike Force size, which is the 2,000 point size in 9th edition. This is a slightly modified board 1 from the WTC. We've had to push out some of the terrain to fit in the objectives, as we weren't sure if objectives could at all be touching terrain. I mean, it's just without the centre one being overlapping the middle objective here. So we have modified it slightly, and it is kind of a weird Vanguard strike style deployment.
Yeah, it's almost like Vanguard strike deployment, but on the short edges rather than the long edges of the board.
Yeah, and I quite like it. It's quite easy to measure. You just measure halfway up the board, and then you just draw a diagonal.
Oh yeah, it's a lot easier to measure.
Yeah, rather than going, was it 22.5 and 15.5 or whatever the old measurement was. It's changed like now. But so
something like that.
So we have shifted the objectives around. They start off in the 4 corners, here, 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 and here. And then we move the outer ring of objectives around 6 inches, taking it in turn. So Gavin rolled to be the defender. So I was the attacker, so I moved number 4 backwards.
Yep. I then moved number 2 close to my deployment zone, and number 3 close to my deployment zone, which then forced Chris to have to move number 5, which meant it kind of focuses the action more in my half of the table.
Yeah, and I was about to say this is very good play by Gavin. He is now dictating the pace of the game before we even put the first model down. Shall we go over secondaries?
Yeah.
And then we'll go over the armies. So the secondaries, I have taken engaging all fronts, which is basically recon. But I only had to have, I scored 2 points if I have models in 3 quarters, and 3 points if I have them in 4 quarters, but I cannot be within 6 of the centre.
Yeah.
For those units, and I quite like that. It doesn't mean to score max you have to get 3 every single turn. But you're not really maxing out secondaries in this edition unless it's like an all vehicle army you're shooting into or something like that.
The thing you kind of want to be doing in this edition is your aim is to try and get 10 points out of secondary from the practices we've had. 10 points out of every turn / secondary seems to be the way to try and get the wins out of the game. So.
Yeah, and then I've gone for mental interrogation. I have got 2 psychers. One of whom is I'm bringing more for her innate aura ability, which will come to in a bit. So if I'm in range of a character, I will probably be doing the mental interrogation psychic power, which casts on a 4, and then that gives me 4 victory points. And as Gavin's Necrons, he doesn't really have any psychic defense, so I'm kind of safe taking that.
I don't. The only psychic defense Necrons have is the Warlord trait, which allows you to deny 1 psychic power a turn. But in this list that I have, it's not particularly worth having, so therefore I've gone for a different Warlord trait.
And also, given the new edition, the new way of writing lists, that has to be on your list as well. So if you go into a tournament, that's your Warlord trait for the entire event.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no more flex picking into it just because you want to stop an Eldar cooking or something like that. And then Gavin's gone for Raise Banners High for his secondary. Do you want to just quickly explain that?
So Raise Banners is at the end of my movement phase. I can perform an action with an infantry unit if I'm on an objective. At the end of my turn, I have raised a banner on the objective, and therefore every turn after that, if I still have that banner up, I don't need to be on the objective. I keep my banner up, and I'll get a point at the end of each of my command phases. And then if I'm holding each of the objectives at the end of the game, I'll get another point for all of my banners. So it's quite good for my army because I have a lot of infantry models and units. I can get on objectives quickly with them and just raise the flags up in my first turn when I'm not in range. And then I just need to stop you from getting onto them to be able to take my banners off.
Yeah, I was also looking at this one for my second because I do have a lot of infantry characters which don't necessarily do much in the first turn. Things like the Troop Master, the Solitaire, and even just my units of troops and stuff like that, but not less to lesser extent them as well. I can go up and get 3 or 4 banners up, and then I just get the points that I get from them. But because of the way the objectives have been placed this game, they're far away from my deployment zone. I don't really want to be extending that far in the first turn. So I haven't gone for that one. And then my third one is priority targets, which is the mission specific one. So our priority targets are our objectives 3 and 4. So 4 is here in my deployment zone, and 3 is here,
just touching the edge of mine.
Yeah. Now I don't have to hold number 4 at all, because the way it works is you get 3 victory points for holding one of those objectives, and 5 victory points for holding 2. I reckon I can be holding my own one majority of the game, if not all of it. So I'm going to try and get the 12 points or the 9 points for that. Might not get the full points depending on how the game goes. And then Gavin, what was your last one?
My last one is Grind Them Down. It's not amazing against Chris, but generally with Necrons, Grind Them Down is a good one to take because your opponent shouldn't be killing you too quickly. So you kind of are looking to kill more units than your opponent each turn. But it's not amazing against Harlequins, but it's just a good general one to take as Necrons just in case. I'm pretty happy with my secondary choices, but as the way with any new edition, I'm only 3 games into it, and this could be all entirely wrong. We just don't know. This is why this is more of a test game. I'm testing out Harlequin. This is why we're still on TTS before I go and purchase all the Harlequin models that I need for them. Well, I have almost all of these Necron models. The only things I'm missing are the 2 Doomsday Arcs.
Speaking of which, that's a good segue to your army. What is your army?
Well, my army is using a lot of the Indomitus models. Well, not a lot of the Indomitus models, but a good few. So it's a battalion led by an Overlord from the Indomitus box set. So the Overlord is really good because they split up My Will Be Done into 2 separate sections now. So you have My Will Be Done, and then you have Relentless March, which allows the Relentless March is an aura of 6 inches. Everything when you move or advance, you get +1 to your movement with any units within 6 inches of them. And My Will Be Done is just the standard +1 to hit. But it used to be infantry only. It's now gone to any unit within Necrons, so I can give that to Doomsday Arcs or Wraith, rather than just being infantry only.
Yeah, and it's horrible. I mean, having a Doomsday Arc hit you on 2 up is disgusting.
Yeah. I forgot to mention my entire battalion is Nihilak as well. So if I stay stationary, I get to reroll 1s to hit. So those Doomsday Arcs can be hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s with all their guns. It's disgusting.
I can confirm it hurts. It hurts a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so what other new models are you showing off today?
So I've got the Overlord. So he's my Warlord as well. I'll come back to that in a second. I also have the new Royal Warden, which is the unit that allows me to, in my command phase, I can pick a unit within 9 inches, and they can fall back and shoot or charge. Well, and shoot and charge if I wish. Yeah. So that's really, really good. Plus, he's not the best model in the world for his toughness,
Yeah.
He's basically just a souped up immortal, but his gun is pretty good because it's improved Gauss Blaster with damage 2, which is
Yeah.
quite nice.
Yeah. Not so good against me because I don't have that many 2-wound things. In fact, it's probably not as great against me. But when I was playing my Blood Angels full of Primaris and Sanguinary Guard, it really did show off its power.
Exactly.
And also, having him to shoot to allow a Doomsday Arc to fall back and shoot is incredible.
Yeah. So that's really good. So then, moving on to the rest of my list, my third HQ option is a Cryptek with a Chronometron. Fairly standard. You see them in most Necron lists these days. I then have the Catan Shard of the Deceiver, with the ability for Grand Illusion, which allows me to move units pre-game anywhere on the board outside 12 inches of enemy units, which is just amazing because of the alternating deployment and not knowing who's going first when you are deploying stuff. It allows me a little bit of flexibility in the first turn to be able to, if I don't win the roll-off to go first, I can go more defensive or go more aggressive if I do win the roll-off.
I reckon he's an auto included in most Necron lists.
Yeah, well,
he just gives you so much flexibility.
Yeah, Catan's just good in general, but he especially is very good. So
cool. And what else?
So I then have 40 of the new Necron warriors with Gauss Reapers. 20 of them they're in squads of 10. 20 of them I've put into outflank using the new stratagem. Did that pre-game. So they're good. They're high strength, high AP, but shorter range, which is not as good against Chris with this Harlequin list. But again, it's better against more things than the Gauss Flares are. So that's why I've got them.
Yeah, because right now you're essentially rapid fire 1 inch, range 8 inches against me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which does curb your list quite a bit because these guys en masse, they tear apart units.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was using them to kill Custodes Terminators easily the other day, so...
Yeah, and you're ripping apart Sanguinary Guard because of the -2. It's brutal.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. And then you got some Rust Buckets.
I've got some Rust Buckets, otherwise known as Crypto Thralls, which are going to be following my Cryptek around all the time. Yeah. Cheap points, but they're also infantry units, so they can raise flags for me when they're not able to shoot anything. So they're just really good. And they also mean that the Cryptek is not targetable, even if he's the closest unit to your army, because of their special ability.
Yeah.
Which is really good, just for keeping the Cryptek alive a bit longer. I then have 3 of the new Scorpec Destroyers. Obviously, one is with Reapblade, 2 are with Threshers. They're quite good. They've been a bit hit and miss with for me in games so far, but we'll see how they do today. They can be good when they get their buffs off. If you roll decently for them, but if you roll badly, they're a bit hit and miss. So still trying to test to see if they're any good or not.
Yep.
I then have 12 Wraiths with Particle Casters. Wraiths are really good in the Halak because you have access to the stratagem that gives them 2 up in Von saves. Which is
it's ridiculous.
I don't save you though. How disgusting that is.
Didn't save you on the weekend when my Sanguinary Guard just had a word with them.
Yeah, that happens when you roll 3 for every single damage you make against them.
Well, it happens. Yeah, and then you got a couple of Doomsday Arcs.
Yeah, I've got 2 Doomsday Archers from a long range firepower, and they're also good because they have the Gauss Flare arrays on the side, so they can shoot in combat decently as well. So they're just very good choices in general. Yeah,
it's a pretty nasty looking list. It's certainly got some teeth. Those wraiths can be in a new turn 1 happily.
I mean they've got next to the Overlord, they have 13-inch move plus D6 advantage, and I can spend a CP to advance and charge them each turn.
Yeah,
they're fast.
It's a very mobile Necron list, is what you've come up with, whilst having a lot of the teeth, which some other lists might not have. Because typically you might take like the Tomb Blades or something, which is a bit more fragile than the race, but then they got the speed, and that's what we've had in the channel before, and it has worked well. No triple Doom Croissants No Void
Nope.
Dragon yet. You do see him in the background, lingering menacingly.
No, yeah. I did mention my Overlord is my Warlord, and he's got my Relic as well.
Mm-hmm.
So his Warlord trait is the I think it's called Thrall of the Silent King. So it increases all of my abilities by 3 inches.
Yeah.
So that Relentless March Hour goes up from 6 inches to 9 inches, and my Will Be Done goes from 9 inches to 12 inches. And then he's taking a Time Splinter Cloak for reroll 1 hit, wound, or damage roll, and he gets a 5-up Feel No Pain.
It's disgusting. Like, just the size of that aura. But yeah, is there anything else you want to show off in your army before we jump over?
No, I think that's everything. My Deceiver has Antimatter Meteor and Sky of Falling Stars as his powers, but that's the only other thing I didn't cover.
Okay, well, if we miss anything, we can catch up after the Ed deployment phase. Shooting across the table to my army, we have a battalion of Soaring Spite. I'm not sure if this is the correct Harlequin list. This is a style of list I'm trying out, which I'm calling Hold Your Ground, where you just find the toughest units in your codex, and you bring as much of them as you can, whilst having a balanced army. For Harlequins, that's the Skyweaver jet bikes, because
Necrons have a similar list for Ghost Darks and Warriors, but I've not tried that one yet.
Yeah, there is another Harlequin that's floating around, which is basically how many Starweavers can you fit in one list, and then you bring that. So you just bring cheap troops and cheap HQs, and you fill out 2 battalions and with all the stuff you can, and you just say, "This board is mine. Go and have a coffee." So this is something, but I don't necessarily want to play that list because that list has no teeth. Might have a couple of units of jet bikes in there, but I like teeth in my list. So starting off with the Warlord, there's a Shadow Seer. She's going to be rocking the Player of the Twilight Warlord trait, which is a CP regen. 9th edition, as far as I'm aware, is currently broken. How this works. So it used to be you roll a number for you roll a d6 for every stratagem spent in the game, yours and your opponent's. If you get that number on the dice for the cost of the stratagem, you get that many CP back. However, because that was part of an FAQ when they limited the CP regen for armies, that no longer applies. So we're just playing it as I get 1 back. Might be wrong. Might be an FAQ coming out when this video is released, but as of right now, this is how we're playing it. She's going to be rocking 2 Pivotal Rows, Shield from Harm and Veil of Illusion. You know what they do if you've seen this channel before. Then you've got Twilight Pathways and Webway Dances as powers. You know what they do if you've seen the channel before. Then I've got a second Shadow Seer, who's rocking Fog of Dreams, which is a targeted -1 to hit Harlequin infantry units on an enemy unit. And Charge of Light, which is a targeted smite, which also gives you -1 leadership as well. And and then the Horror Pivotal Row is Agent of Bedlam. Now that is a 6-inch aura, -1 attack. It takes the teeth out of those wraiths by so much. Because how many attacks do they have each?
3 each.
3 each. That's a third of your attacks gone.
Yep.
Which is huge when you're not getting any rerolls on them anyway. And I can be -1 to hit. So it's just it curbs the punch of Gavin. Then I've got 3 troops. I've also got a Troop Master who's rocking a Fusion Pistol and the Twilight Fang. Then so that's all my HQs. Then I've got 3 troops. There are 2 with 5 Fusion Pistols, 1 with 4. Both troop units have 3 Harlequin Caresses and 1 Harlequin Kiss. So that's just I thought I don't have the points to buy more Starweavers, so I might as well upgrade my troops and make them more meaningful if they do have to get out and fight something. And these troops will tear apart Necron warriors like they're not even there.
Oh yeah. I mean, if they're against my warriors, there's issues going on.
Yeah. Then I've got 2 Death Jesters. One of them, this one over here, I believe, is rocking the Relic Sniper Rifle. Sigoric's Lament. He's also got Death is Not Enough, which is when a unit that he's hit fails a morale check, I get to pick up the first model. Not so much for this game, but in the games where someone's bringing large units, which I can really force a morale check on. If they fail that check, I can then pick up their first model, which could take out half a unit by itself because of the coherency changes.
Yeah.
Then he's got Harvester of Torment to effectively get blast. So it's effectively a blast weapon. If it's 6 or more models that he's shooting at, it's 3 hits rather than 1 hit for every hit he makes. I've got another Death Jester who's got Humble and Cruelty, standard turn off Overwatch. Then I've got a Solitaire who is rocking Blitz and Sigorak's Rose. I've got 3 units of 5 Skyweavers, all of them got Zephyr Graves, all of them got Haywire Cannons, which is now a blast weapon, which really helps for the clearing of screens. And then I've got 4 Starweavers, sorry, and you can see what's currently rocking in them here. So that's my list. I don't think I've forgotten anything.
You got a bunch of Skyweavers as well.
yeah, I've said that. I've got a bunch of the Skyweavers, which I'll probably call Hayweavers at some point because that's the nickname because you've got Haywire Cannons. But yeah, just to show you the board before we set up, this is my deployment zone. This is Gavin's deployment zone, and these are the objectives. So we'll come back to you with the end of the deployment phase. Hey everyone, welcome back to the end of the deployment phase. So Gavin put down the first unit, I believe, which was his
Catan.
Yeah, his Catan Shard of the Deceiver. And I put down a unit of bikes. Then he put down something else, and I put down a unit of bikes. Then he put down something else, and I put down a unit of bikes. And I just kind of went like that. And I'm basically trying to hide. That's my game plan. Hide as much as I can. Give him as limited options as possible. Deploying the really important stuff as in my bikes out of range of a charge range from the race because they can't charge after they use the Catan Shard of the Deceiver power to move extra inches. They can shoot, but they can't charge. Gavin, is there anything you want to talk about your deployment?
So I position my Doomsday Arcs as far back as possible, basically so that if Chris does go first and chooses to go first, it's harder for him to get all his Skyweavers into my Doomsday Arcs. My Wraiths are on the front lines, ready to charge forward if I want to, if I do get first turn with them.
Mm-hmm.
The Deceiver's in the middle, so that if Chris goes early on with the charge, the Deceiver is there that he could make a charge on early. So it's something that Chris will have to respect. Otherwise, everything's in range of my Overlord for his abilities, so they get extra moves, my will be done's, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Destroyers are out on the one flank, just kind of hidden behind the wall so they can't get shot at.
Mm-hmm.
And my warriors are just performing a little bit of a protective screen for my character. So
one other thing to note for my deployment is I have got my Shadow Seers, one here and one here, in range of the really important stuff as in the bikes. The Shadow Seer with Ages of Bedlam is in 5-inch range, wholly within 5-inch range of the tip of each of the bikes, apart from this one bike here, meaning that if Gavin was to charge, you'd have to only charge this one bike, and obviously I'd remove that bike first if there's any shooting going on. That's the only unit that it can be shot at in its current state. So you'd have to face that -1 attack penalty when it comes to fighting. Other than that, just hiding and screening out the 12-inch aura, the 12 inches deny for the Catan Shard, so that he can come in like here, he can come in here, and he can't come in at the flanks where he can get some really nice juicy shots off into my bikes. But anyway, we're going to film the roll off to go first live because it's obviously quite exciting. I'll come over to Gavin's dice mat. I'll turn the camera around so it's right way around. All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
Do you want to go first?
I got 6. I will choose to go first.
All right, Gavin, virtual handshake over the camera.
Yep. Good luck.
Best of luck, and we'll come back to you at the end of turn 1 movement and any shenanigans that might happen in the kind of the post-deployment phase, shall we say. All right, we'll come back to you with that. Hey everyone, welcome back to the end of Gavin's first turn movement phase. No psychic phase to speak of because Necrons do not believe in the brains. What happened?
Basically, I advanced both my Wraith squads up the flanks. One didn't get a particularly good advance, so I just kind of held them back for a future turn. The other one got a pretty decent advance, so I'm gonna see if I can make a charge off onto Starweavers, possibly.
Yeah, it's an 8-inch charge from what we've measured already.
The Destroyers used the Grand Illusion ability to get onto Objective 2.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to, at the end of my movement phase, raise 3 flags on 2 objectives. 2, 5, and 3.
Yep.
Using Warriors, Destroyers, and the Crypto Thralls to do all of that.
Yeah, because they're not doing anything anyway.
Yep, pretty much.
And then you put My Will Be Done on
My Will Be Done on
phase.
The back, Doomsday Arc.
Yep. And this guy shuffles forward.
Doomsday Arc. Shuffle forward just so in a future turn he's got more he can do. Yep. And the Catan did 1 mortal wound to a Starweaver with Antimatter Meteor.
Woo! So we're going to go into the shooting phase and we'll come back to you with a summary of that. Hey everyone, welcome back to the end of the Necron turn. We kind of blitzed through that because we realised there's only 1 unit activating in each turn. So just to save you all some time when watching from home, as your time is precious, we just went through it all. So Gavin, what happened?
So the Doomsday Arc got 3 shots, 2 hits against the Skyweavers.
I did lightning fast to keep them safe.
Yeah, it didn't matter in the end, but got 2 wounds, and then went to roll damage and rolled a 2. So only 1 bike died, where might have been hoping for 2 there because you failed 2 saves.
Yeah,
that's
on average 2 bikes should die from that.
Yeah. And then went to charge the Wraiths against Starweavers, and failed the charge even with a reroll. And then at the end of the turn, I spent 2 CP to give them +1 save and +1 attack for that Wraith unit that's sitting on Objective 2. Just to make them more resilient against your inevitable counter from the stuff inside those 2 Starweavers.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so it's looking pretty intense. I mean, the Necrons are definitely holding the objectives right now, and I need to start looking at shifting them off. Unfortunately, you've got some very secure flanks in the Wraiths. And the Wraiths that are actually in a more opportune position for me to shoot at are two up and running right now.
And if you come into the center as well, my flanks could then close in on you from either side.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's looking rough, but this is where Harlequins, excel. They're cagey. They do not give anything up easily.
Yep. I mean, Cowardly Eldar. I can't say anything because I've been playing Eldar recently as well.
yeah. You've got 2 second place podium spots with Eldar, so you really cannot complain about Eldar.
Yeah, no. I really can't.
We'll come back to you with the end of the Harlequin movement phase and psychic phase in this turn 1. Hey everyone, welcome back to the end of the Harlequin movement and psychic phases. So my plan was to be in 3 board quarters, which I am. I reckon the Solitaire is in a precarious position, just where his transport was, where it had to be because of line of sight. So he's going to come over and tangle with some of these, with these 3 destroyers, because every fail save Gavin has is a dead model. So I reckon he can do it. He's also blitzed this turn. I don't think he's going to be alive at the end of this turn. Is what I'm basically expecting. If he is alive at the end of this turn, hallelujah. Then these Starweavers are just in fusion range. I'm expecting them to kill 1, maybe 2 Wraiths. Because these guys are the ones with 2 up in bow. Then also the Super Death Jester is in this transport here. So again, just that might take off a model by itself if he is the model to kill someone. It really racks up basically. Then over here, I double moved my red bikes went over so they can shoot this Doomsday Arc, hoping to bracket it, kill it if I get lucky, and then they will charge into tangle with these Wraiths. I need to get these Wraiths off turn 1. This is how I beat Gavin in the first 2 turns. This is how I beat Gavin with my Sanguinary Regardless. I just took off the Wraiths, and then it freed up the board for all of my shenanigans. And to support them do that is 2 fusion buses who are going to be playing Happy Days over here. Then over here, the Starweavers just moved over, lend some fire support. They can I'll see and shoot at some Necron warriors and some wraiths. Apart from these two on the other side of the wall, because they had been on that side of the wall because they couldn't move far enough. They're tailed back to get the Shadow Seer buffs, and then I've got this unit giving her the character screening over here, which is just within the 3 inches. But also behind the terrain, so that's really important because I've got units further ahead. Gavin has to get to like here to shoot at her.
Yeah.
Which is a tough ask.
Or just clear off everything in front of you and then shoot her, which isn't going to happen.
If that happens this game anyway.
Entire army. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a bit annoying that my 2 Shadow Seers have been left behind, but I just need to make some breaks happen in this turn. Other Shadow Seer didn't cast anything because there's nothing in range to cast at, so why Perils? So we'll come back to you with the result of the shooting phase, and just before going to the charge phase. Hey everyone, welcome back to the end of the Harlequin shooting phase. Pretty successful and pretty unsuccessful in places.
Mixed results, I think, is the best way to describe it.
Yeah. My rolling with haywire is better to describe it. So the fusion buses shot over, and the Skyweavers in the green squad shot over to the race and actually took out over half the squad. So there's 1 wound less than half the squad left, which is pretty good. I'm hoping that I kill maybe 1 or 2 more. It's
more successful than I wanted you to be.
Yeah. Then these spikes open up into the transport, into the Doomsday Ark, and did 2 wounds from 2 mortal wounds.
Can I point out those 2 mortal wounds were on 6s, which were the D3 mortal wounds as well?
Yeah, it was terrible. This is what I was saying. It's mixed results. So I've been thinking about what to charge, and it's not pretty. Is the answer. Then over here, the fusion boss and the Death Jester opened up to the race and did a couple wounds, and obviously the Solitaire is going to charge in here. And I've just figured out a cool little trick I can do with a Solitaire, should I wish to, as well. And then so we're just going to go into the charge phase, and hope for the best, really. Awesome. So we'll come back to you with the end of the turn, I guess. Can you tell us it's been a while since I filmed one of these, by the way? Hey everyone, welcome back to the end of the Harlequin turn. So charge phase was a bit of a whiff. Didn't kill the Wraith or couple Wraiths I was hoping to kill, but I have tagged both each in combat. Yes, they can fall back, but only one of them can fall back and shoot. And or Gavin can choose the race to fall back and charge. So it's curbed the race for a turn. They didn't have to do any damage apart from a couple wounds onto a Starweaver. The Solitaire minced the destroyers here, and then I used a stratagem to pop them back in this transport here, which I'll mark up in a second. So looking at the points for this round, I am slightly ahead because I have earlier scoring primary than Gavin does, but obviously that was changed when we started looking at secondary. But Gavin's going to be ahead in the primary, as he is going to get a perfect primary at the start of his round 2. I'm only getting 5 points. So we'll come back to you with his movement phase summary, and in round 2. Okay, everyone, welcome back to the end of the Necron movement phase. Gavin, what happened?
I fell back with warriors and the Doomsday Ark and the Wraiths. The Doomsday Ark got told to fall back and shoot.
Yeah, love that Warden ability.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. So the Wraiths are just going into the backfield. They're not going to do much apart from get me recon, basically.
Yeah.
But they're annoying for if Chris wants to deal with them.
Yeah.
The warriors fell back for sitting on the objective, just to kind of hold that.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought in my other 2 squads of warriors all on the flanks to just offer some fire support into the shots. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking precarious. I did forget to do my 3-up when I advanced stratagem on these guys to keep them safe, but that is my mistake. I'm wearing it because I wouldn't realize 4 phases later.
Yeah, we realized in the phase.
Normally in these practice games we allow some leeway, but then they're just taking the piss.
Yeah, we allow a bit of leeway, usually like 1 or 2 phases after, but 4 phases we tend to go. Yeah, no, sorry about that.
Yeah, like you need to have that mistake to learn from it. But that is definitely something that would have helped me in the situation, and also if I had a Shadow Seer over there, but that was never going to happen because I needed to reach out and touch that Wraith unit. So I'm going to see what happens here, basically.
Yep.
Awesome. So we'll come back to you with the end of the shooting phase for the Necrons, which is going to be a lot of shooting.
And did 2 mortal wounds to that Skyweaver squad.
Yeah, mortal wounds definitely help when you have a decent info.
Yeah,
I was actually really hoping you would kill one there, because then I have a different strategy. When a model dies, I get a 3-up from the end of the phase to the rest for the rest of the turn. I was really hoping you would have killed him there. Anyway, moving on.
I figured that I wasn't going to do that, so.
Okay, everyone, welcome back to the end of the Necrons active action turn. So pretty wild charge phase there, Gavin. So what happened?
Yeah, so basically the shooting phase was alright, and then the charge phase, the Overlord went into the Skyweavers, did nothing. Then the Wraiths went into the Starweavers, fluffed their wound rolls, and took one down to 2 wounds remaining when I'd hoped to kill it and therefore kill everything inside it. Failed to kill the Solitaire Starweaver 2, which is annoying.
Yep.
And then you piled in with the Skyweavers, hit my warriors and killed 6 of them. My warriors then hit you back and killed one of the Skyweavers, which is seemingly better than an Overlord can do.
Yep.
And then lost 2 to morale. Chris lost
I lost 1 guy to morale over here, yeah.
Yep.
So pretty bloody turn on both sides, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, now it's Harlequin's turn to punch, and that's super fun.
Yeah.
Because my army
the only good thing is you've lost quite a lot of your units already. Like you've lost most of your troop units.
Yeah, and that really does suck. But Harlequin troops are never known for sticking around. Anyway, I think I need to really go ham this turn and try and kill as much of as possible. Maybe see off one of the Wraith units and one of your ships. That would be nice, but obviously it just comes down to what happens in the rows. But we'll just do your end of game scoring, Gavin, on camera. So primary happens at the start of the phase. Engagement of front, you got 2.
Yep.
And grind them down we do at the end of the end of the round, because you need to kill more than me, and you killed 1, 2, 3 units because you got 2 transports and a troop squad.
Yep.
So you're probably going to get that, but I've already scored almost 1 for killing off for the Necron warrior unit. So just some latent shooting should finish off those 2 Necron warriors, and we'll see if I can pick up some more Necron warriors to try and stop you getting that secondary point once again. So we'll come back to you with the Harlequin movement phase. Hey everyone, welcome back to the psychic phase and movement phase summary for the Harlequins. So the movement phase, I moved out this building because I had to get this character further forward just in case my smites really popped off in the psychic phase. So these bikes are now screening for both of them, and they're in range to have a couple of options to shoot, whether it be these warriors or these wraiths, depending on how the rest of my shooting goes. I moved the Starweaver out here. The Starweaver can't shoot, but the guys inside can because of the special rules that Harlequins have. I disembarked from the Starweaver that was here. The Solitaire is now back in this corner. He's going to make a long charge, ignoring the terrain because of his flip belt. 7-inch charge into the Necron warriors. If he makes it off, he kills like half the squad, and just starts causing problems.
You hope I kill morale.
It starts causing problems for Gavin. Basically, I'm not expecting him to kill the unit. If he does, it'll be a miracle. This Starweaver's come over here to get me 3 points on engagement on fronts at the end of the turn. Over here, I advanced the Skyweaver's over, remembering to give them the 3 from vulnerable from the stratagem, which I did not know the name of. And then these guys repositioned so that I am outside of explosion range on this Necron vehicle here, the Boomsday Bork.
Hoping to actually kill it this time.
Hoping I actually kill it now. We've got 8d6 rather than 5d6. It makes all the difference, guys, trust me. And then these then these players and the troop masters come over to have a word with these very, very rude wraiths. Hoping that between the fusion and the combat, I get enough like one man left in the unit. Maybe no wraiths would be nice. It depends. There's a pretty nasty combination. The murder master is anyway. In second phase, I killed off 2 wraiths and I got off Webway Dance to give the bikes a 6-up field of wins. That's lovely. So we'll come back to you with the end of the shooting phase. There's a lot of shooting to go on, so we'll come back to you with a summary of that. Then a summary of the charge phase. If you're playing Harlequins, you really need to be active in every single turn, in every single phase, every single turn, to win the game. That's what I'm trying to do. So we'll come back to you with that. Hey everyone, welcome back to the end of the shooting phase. So killed a couple of wraiths, and that's going to really it, apart from a couple of Necron warriors on the red squad from the humbling cruelty death tester. Also, I didn't kill the Doomsday Ark. It's alive on 2 wounds, which means it is going to be on the bottom bracket, and I could charge and kill it. But that would put me in the explosion radius, and I would probably lose a bike, knowing my luck, for that. And Gavin might as well.
And I also get a chance to shoot with Overwatch.
Yeah, so it's looking a bit rough. I'm not gonna lie, but I've got some charges to make now, and hopefully they'll be big and juicy. So we'll come back to you with the charges. Hey everyone, welcome back to the end of the Harlequin turn. Fluff City is what I will say.
It was very marshmallowy.
Yeah, I did make some misplays, so we'll just talk about them briefly. So I had the 3-man Skyweaver attacking the black squad of warriors only, and had the green squad attacking both the red and the black. I should have, as Gavin was saying to me.
You charged into the red and the black. You should have either, if you wanted to avoid the Hurricane intervention from the Overlord, you only declare the red, and therefore you don't need to go towards the black with the Skyweavers, or you declare both and then you put attacks into both. So
yeah, but live and learn. It's super unfortunate. That does cost me 2 victory points as well, which is big. This Wraith unit survives with 1 wound spare because I got some pretty dodgy hit rolls on my players. And the Solitaire failed to make it into the Warriors, so Gavin has a choice. Does he send this Wraith unit to go and deal with the Solitaire, which is a very dangerous unit, or does he trust that the Warriors can do that job? Because they're going to get into Tango range next turn, no matter what Gavin does. But yeah, so I'm hoping that the reanimation protocols doesn't hurt me too much on the squad of warriors and this Wraith, given that there's 1 wound left in both squad. But yeah, that's what Necrons are. They just reanimate everywhere, and it's really annoying.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so looking at the score sheet,
I hate what I'm about to do at the start of my turn as well.
Is it an army wine +1 by any chance?
No, I'm going to spend 1 CP and make my Doomsday Ark fire on full profile.
Gavin?
Yeah?
Leave. Right, look at the score sheet. It's 35-31 to Gavin going into his turn. Annoyingly, that 1 warrior also means that he holds his objective, so he's going to be holding more than me, and it's just...
Yep.
Things are going to go bad, so he gets a perfect primary at the start of the turn. So the score sheet looks like this, 31-50. You also get 2 banners.
Even if you hadn't got that one, warrior, I still would have got 50. You need to make the charge with the Solitaire and kill off that entire squad to stop me getting the 15 this turn.
Yeah, but it's more letting me get the 10. So I'm staying close behind you. I also need to really start mentally targeting things, but unfortunately my Psychers need to be smiting and dealing mortal wounds, and it's just rough. But we'll come back to you with the result of Gavin's turn. We're just going to go to turn summary at this stage. Okay, so we'll come back to you with that. Yep. Hey everyone, welcome back to the end of the Necron turn. Apologies if you can hear some background noise right now. Gavin, what happened?
Pretty good turn from me. Basically, I fell back with my warriors using Royal Warden's ability for them to fall back and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Cleared out Chris's 3-up inv on Bike Squad.
Yep.
Killed off both of his remaining Star Weavers. And then the Catan came in and punched up one of his other Skyweaver squad. Other than that, my Wraiths whiffed a little bit in the back, just because I was a bit of a numpty with my positioning with them, but that's okay. That's my mistake, so I think I'm due Chris one, so yeah, that happened. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. The Crypto Thralls were very good, because they came in and just annihilated the last remaining bike, because they get 6 attacks each when they're in range at the Cryptek.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nasty.
Before we forget, something disgusting happened in that I spent 2 CP to give my guy that was on 1 wound out of my blue squad of Wraiths reanimations, and got 4 of the Wraiths back.
Yeah, it is super annoying that, because it's just 1 wound, it's like 1 caress I was missing, and yeah, it's just really unfortunate that happened. But going into my turn, I hold no objectives actually, because I think Gavin out-offsets me here, so that's super rough. Yeah, so this is the score sheet as it stands. I don't think I have a way back into this game. We're going to play it out, we're going to talk it out, and I'm going to see what happens. So I've got some units with some teeth on the board. I've still got 4 Skyweavers here, 2 Skyweavers there, and I can obviously fall back, shoot and charge, and it's nasty. I've got Solitaire hiding out here, who's got a shorter charge in this time. Yeah, it's going to be...
I just wanted to make sure your Star Weaver went down.
It's going to be nasty. And obviously it's the end of the turn that I score my secondary for holding 4 or 3. So if I can pull that off and get 5 points there, that's going to be big. So that's probably where my focus is going to be this turn. So we'll come back to you with the result of all that. Hey everyone, welcome back to the end of the Harlequin turn, and yeah, that was rough. Solitaire and troops did not kill 10 Necron warriors, which is ridiculous. The over and down to 3 went well. Troopmaster murdered the Catan Shard of the Deceiver, so that went well. My bikes finished off the 4 troops with the help of the Death Jester. And then over here, less well, I did manage to get this race squad down to 1, and because Gavin's not got 2 CP, I know that's not going to come back, but there's still 6 wraiths in my territory. And that's
I still got half my wraiths since it came out.
That is rough, and I have also just lost my -1 attack character, which is huge, because that cuts down the race by 1/3 from what they can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Start of Gavin's turn, he
I also got to grind them down for that turn, which we forgot to mark it.
Yeah, so it's looking pretty rough to Gavin. He holds 2 at the start of his turn.
Yep.
And
exactly.
We do the rest of it. So what we're going to do is, because this game is kind of winding down, is going to talk through it. It's kind of gone on quite long, because we both had to keep hopping away from our computers for real life reasons. So we're wanting to finish up this game. So we're just going to talk through it off camera, and we'll come back to you with that. And we're going to do a tactic discussion how we thought the game went as per normal. So we'll come back to you with the result of our talk through. Hey everyone, welcome back to the end of the game. We just talked through it. It was kind of the highlights of it was the all my stuff on objective number 3 dying, and then all my stuff on objective 2 dying, and then all my stuff on objective 1 apart from my Death Eater dying. I try to make some plays there just to get the most number of points. So stopping Gavin from getting flags. Did we count your flags at the end, by the way?
Yeah, we did. I counted the 3 up.
So I tried to use a Death Jester who's a great horde clearer normally. He picks up the entire Imperial Guardians by himself. But the 5-up infun, I don't know where you get that from, Gavin. I think it's your Cryptek.
Cryptek, yeah.
Yeah, so that just blocked the shots, and it was rough. Because the Solitaire is not going to kill a squad by himself, but if there's 5 left in the squad, it's possible.
When we say that I gone through, you're looking at 2d3 mortal wounds, which the average is 4. So then I'm looking at that's 6 dead, so I've only got 4 left, and you kill 3 in combat, so I've only got 1 left, and pretty much guaranteed to fail a morale check, and then you've got that objective up me, so...
Yeah, and that was my plan, to try and stop Gavin's flags. I knew it was a lost cause, but if it's a tournament, like a team event or something like that, every single point matters. So you always play for the points, and that's like kind of, like, even though we're talking through the game, we try and play through it properly. And when you're talking through a game, I just want to note, like, Gavin and I both did stuff out of sequence because we've realised, because we're just fast thinking through all this. So Gavin realised his crypto thrall should be over here to get max points for the recon objective. And
yeah,
I
and then I
realised
can
I should cast a power.
use them to raise the flag and things like that.
Yeah, and it's, just be lenient with your opponent. Never play gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha gaming is not good. And if there is by some weirdness a channel called Gotcha Gaming, I apologize. I'm sure they're very good. Hashtag no YouTube drama. So Gavin, how do you think that list went for you? Because obviously that's the second time we've played exact same list, and it's two different armies you played against now.
I like it. It's usually not good against combat armies, but if you play it well against combat armies, it does okay. I got lucky in that game in a lot of situations because, I mean, the average from those haywire bikes should kill off, in the space of 2 turns, 1 haywire bike squad should kill off a Doomsday Arc. They just didn't kill off either of them.
Yeah. Harlequin is a very swingy army, and that's kind of why I don't like them. But at the same time, I love the tricks they can pull. Like, I loved popping my Solitaire out in turn 1, clearing off your 3 destroyers, and then popping into transport for 1 CB. It was great.
Exactly.
Like,
it was really good.
That stuff feels amazing.
I still don't like Gorpek destroyers. They still don't feel like they feel too flimsy, and they also, when they do get the chance to punch, they don't do much. Okay,
I'm surprised you don't have an invul. Because a lot.
They've got no invulns because they're only destroyers. Destroyers don't have invulns, and it's fine when you've got shooting destroyers because you can stick them next to a Chronometron Cryptek, and then you're going, well, I've got a 5-up invuln and I can sit back and shoot you. Whereas melee destroyers, you're wanting to get stuck in combat, and when you're going into combat with stuff that's high AP, you're just gonna die straight away. So.
Do you think you'd ever spend the CP to put them into reserve in future? Because that's the second time that they've kind of done nothing of consequence in our games. I don't know what's happened in your other games.
In my other games, they've in 2 games they've done well. So they did well against Gabriel with his chimeras because he decided to go after my wraiths rather than my destroyers. So it meant that my destroyers were able to just go around and start smacking up chimeras. The other game they did okay in was they did okay against John. I know they didn't do okay against John. Who was it? It was played you, John, Innes twice, Gabriel. I didn't have them. The Sunday event, I tried out a Scorpec Lord, but then realized that I can't actually fit that in the list because our Royal Warden's an HQ choice, and I thought he was an elite.
Yeah. Breaking the rules again, Gavin. I see.
Yeah. That's just new stuff, and I've just not particularly looked over it. But obviously I fixed that now, so obviously won't make that mistake again. But yeah, I think Scorpec Lords are a lot better than Scorpec Destroyers, but I don't know. They're 120 points, so they're not the most expensive thing in the world. But I feel
could you,
like
for those points,
use for 120 points?
Could you, for those points, get a Ghost Arc in there?
Yeah, possibly.
Even if it means trimming like our Wraith. In fact, I would say trimming off 2 Wraiths is probably good because of the blast keyword.
Yeah, it avoids blast.
Did it and that's why my Skyweavers are 5-man squads, and it did impact this game quite a bit because you're rolling like 1s and 2s for your number of shots for your big guns at the start of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then have 2 warriors running around in Ghost Arcs and happy days.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that I need to look at in the future, but I do like the list on the whole, and Wraiths are disgusting.
For me, I built this list around the idea of, you've got a situation like this where you've got a cluster of objectives.
Yeah.
And I stand there and I say, come at me, bro.
Yeah.
That's why it's called a hold your ground, because you take the ground and you hold it. The issue is this: when you've got to shift someone And even this is a pretty toothy Harlequiness as far as Harlequiness goes. They've got the fusion there. I mean, I've got 15 fusion pistols and 15 haywire cannons, as well as all the shuriken stuff, which does plink off wounds. That you occasionally miss on those other more damaging guns. I don't know. It felt like I was lacking there.
I think the thing that I did that worked out well in my favor was because I stacked the objectives towards my zone. It meant I didn't need to move, so I was able to make the most of my Nihilak rolls in most phases of the game.
Yeah, I think actually going for the defender role in this mission in particular is vital. Okay. Because then you can. I think I'm right in thinking this. Go for the one who doesn't go first. So the attacker.
Yeah, defender. Yeah.
Because then you can shift two of them at once, so you can see which side your opponent has picked. You can see which way they've gone and just done what Gavin did, because there's a. I mean, how far is this gap? That's a 15-inch gap. Most units in the game cannot go that far.
Yeah, exactly.
To the center one.
And
then the next nearest is like 20-something inches. It's 24 and 25 to the next nearest objective. Whereas Gavin's having to basically move a single Recon squad once to get onto that.
Yeah, exactly. It's not quite enough for me to get there in one turn, but it's almost enough for me to get there in one turn.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that's really, really good. Because as soon as you moved the one that was in your objective zone, I just went, right, okay, well, if that's the case, I'm going to move the two that's in no man's land close to me, and then you have to pick number 5, which means that
I could have moved that further away, but then you just stick a Doomsday Arc in there and just don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's better if
you either move it closer to you to make things easier, or you move it further away, hoping that I stick more stuff back, and I just stick a Doomsday Arc on it, and I'm fine.
Yeah, because you can screen out 24 inches quite comfortably.
Yeah, exactly.
I think my list, it needs some refinement. I loved having Agent of Bedlam in there. -1 attack definitely helped me a couple of times.
That was very good.
But if I'm not playing around those auras, if I'm not really respecting those Shadowseer auras, because this thing, I've only got to have one model from each squad in there to affect it.
Yeah, I thought if you hadn't moved your guys out of range of your Twilight Pathway one to get the -2 the range, like I was really worried about that -2 range, but because all your guys shot away from them really early, I was like, right, okay, I don't need to worry about that range, and my warriors can just shoot you with impunity. Whereas if I'd had to worry about that range, my guns are only 8-inch range guns, which is way too close for Necrons.
Yeah, the other thing is, what I'll say is Gavin just disconnects from the game. Like he's still in the voice channel, thankfully, is that the deployment, and I think the terrain was actually quite rough, even though this is a heavy board, because we're going corner to corner. There's this lovely big shooting channel right up the middle, which Gavin can abuse. And if it was Hammer Anvil, if it was anything else, I would have had the ability to jump from the containers to this midfield rune and just accept the Wraith counterpunch and the charge that they come in with the katana and everything, and maybe even the destroyers. I pop on the -1 to with a stratagem. I tell the first unit that's getting hit, okay, you're lightning fast reactions. A man burning 4 CP that turn. And
yeah, exactly.
But then I interrupt, so at 6 CP, and then I potentially kill off the destroyers or something before they can do anything.
Yeah,
and even then, if I'm up in this building anyway, I've gone first. I've moved. I can give 2 units to 3 up invulnerable or bikes with Twilight Pathways, and I just accept nothing's going to be killed turn 1. I raise some flags. I accept 2 units are going to die, or something like that. I put some transports on there, and that's the other thing with this list. Raising flags, because I'm piling in all of my infantry into the transports apart from a couple of units. Flags isn't really an option for me, and that's one of the standard objectives, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, raise flags for me is pretty much just a guaranteed 10 points if I play it decent. So
yeah,
I think your secondary for the sidekick one is decent, but I just feel like you're too busy trying to deal with other things with smites and things. You didn't have the chance to do that.
I was too busy trying to plink off 3 wastes a turn with mortal wounds.
Exactly.
And I think, I don't know, I think maybe an assassinate could have gone for that. In the other game, I did pick up 3 characters, I think.
Yeah, you also didn't go for that objective because all my characters were like in my backlines, or the only one that was close to you was the Catan that went in the center. So I was surprised you didn't make a push to try and get close to my characters with something. But
the thing is that it doesn't.
Do is we need to, part of ninth is just learning how to play the missions well.
Yeah,
and it's a big learning curve for all of us. So
there's going to be a lot of games where it's very swingy in points at the start, and then things will start to narrow together as players catch up with each other. Gavin has played a couple more games in ninth than I have, and it's my fourth game. I think this is your fifth or sixth.
It's my seventh.
Seventh. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so he is a little bit ahead of me in terms of like the nuances of ninth. But that being said, that was a huge win to Gavin, and it's a big congratulations. The
first time I've beaten you on your channel.
Yeah, not the first time you've beaten me, but on my channel. So I'm gonna have to definitely edit out this whole end conversation. I can't have that happen. I mean, Gavin, you're 1 point off of a perfect score there.
No, I'm not, because
you're 11 points off. They give you the 10 straight away.
10 points for painting straight away. So I'm
TTS assumes that you painted your models. And in reality, you're not going to come to an event with an unpainted army.
Yeah, exactly. So those 10 points can be discounted straight away, pretty much.
In the other game I played when I was playing my Blood Angel list, which, just to give you a brief summary of, you'll see it next week or an iteration of it next week. But it's like 2 units of big Sanguinary Guard, Axes and Fists, 2 Sanguinary Ancients, 3 Impulsors, three interested units with Thunder Hammers and the Sergeants, Sanguinor, Libby Dread, and Astorath, and an Inquisitor. That Inquisitor gave me like 9 points against you because I took the same mental interrogation against you, but because he's radical, I can reroll Psycho Test, and it's an 18-inch thing, and he can just walk up the board with more or less impunity because he's guarded with a character keyword, and because he'll just be in amongst my stuff anyway, shutting down Overwatch on turns he's not interrogating people.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's much more reliable there. I don't know. I think Harlequins is definitely a strong army, but I need to go back to the drawing board. I don't think this is quite the list. But then again, I've only played one game of it. But I want to, order an army in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I might figure out the fundamental building blocks and order up that stuff, get that painted whilst I figure out the rest of it.
Yeah, I think you've definitely got a strong base. You just need to tweak around it to try and get something that works well. And I think you need to play more you need to be sitting around your bubbles to make it harder for your opponent.
Yeah, the other thing is that was a fluff of a game as far as my dice went, especially on the Haywire. And also on the Fusion. I mean, I shot the Fusions 2 or 3 times that game, and I missed with the majority of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just that's unfortunately how the game goes. You can't blame the dice. You need to win in the movement phase. And that's what I like about ninth, is build on winning the movement phase with the way the primary is stacked.
And it's good for a lot of Xenos players as well, because Xenos like to play fast lists.
Yeah.
It helps us in the movement phase. So like I'm abusing the +1 move plus the Wraith's base 12-inch move plus advance and charge to just rampage across the board with Wraiths. And then I've got my backfield stuff which can just shoot off anything that gets close to me. Is kind of how I'm trying to abuse the system at the moment. So.
Yeah, well, I think we'll end the discussion there. I think there's plenty for the viewers, the 10 viewers that we'll have for this, to mull over. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Gavin, and well done.
Yeah, cheers.
Next up on the channel, Watson and I are going to film a physical battle report. I'm taking half his Blood Angels army, and I'm putting in my half. As we kind of scrounge together some physical lists for you. Obviously, social distancing and everything that will be complied with here in Scotland. But really happy to film an actual game, and that will be on the channel, I reckon, next weekend. This should be up this weekend. So, what's the date today? It's the 29th of July. So yeah, early August you'll have a nice physical battle report featuring Blood Angels and Death Guard. And it's got a filthy Death Guard list.
Oh yeah, it's disgusting. I faced it with this list, and I mean, you saw the damage output this list has, and I lost it by 4 points to him because I just couldn't kill anything. I mean, who knew Chaos Spawn were good?
Yeah, like who'd have thunk it? And this is the new Iron Hands. This is the Iron Hands Incisors Horde, And they've only got one with each as well. That's crazy. They're Plague Marines. But anyway.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Gavin, as the winner, you get to flip the table. One last look at the score sheet for the viewers. I mean, as you can see, I just got slaughtered on primary. Did okay
also,
in secondaries.
The Void Dragon is very well pleased with how the Necrons performed.
Yeah, when that model is released, are you going to buy it?
I'm getting it. I'm gonna have to try and make it stronger because I'm sure that those little spindly bits at the bottom will break.
Yeah, these contact points, like, these are not TTS magic. This is how the model stands up.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. So, Gavin, you may flip the table and break your Void Dragon. Bye, Void Dragon. Bye. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one where it's Blood Angels versus Death Guard. Peace.
Yep. Cheers, guys.
Out.
Bye.